Welcome to the Best Sports Betting Podcast, where we'll talk about reviews, previews, tips, and all things betting related. Brought to you by bestsportsbetting.co.za. Now, on to our hosts.
How's punters? Welcome back to the Best Sports Betting Podcast. And today we're going to be having a look at some of the past sporting results, some of the cricket, some of the NFL, some of the soccer football that's been going on, and we're going to have a look ahead at the NFL playoffs. A quick look at some of the other football and some other sports coming up. With me as always is Simon. Simon, we had a pretty profitable week last week with going heavy on Arsenal against Newcastle.
We did. Unfortunately, that was only after extra time, so that bet didn't actually come in. But we did have some luck with Man City United because they went under 2.5 goals.
Yes, 2-0.
Correct, and at halftime it was also 0-0 as well. So both those bets cashed. So that was a nice win. But unfortunately, Arsenal didn't get it done in regular time. In the 90,
yes. Sorry, slight correction there.
So yeah, even though they covered the handicap as we wanted, unfortunately, it was all after extra time. So
and scoreline flattered Arsenal somewhat there. I feel Newcastle had a chance in that game as well.
Agreed.
But yeah, good for Arsenal there to pick it up. Unfortunately for us Newcastle fans, nothing there. But yeah, it makes an interesting kind of proposition looking at Arsenal going forward. Seem to slowly be finding a little bit of form, kind of just teetering on the edge of finding form, I want to say. But yeah, not too much else crazy going on in the league other than the cup game with City and United, which City comfortably won 2-0. What did you think of that match? It wasn't the most exciting, kind of what was to be expected from that kind of match. Good game, but yeah. What were your thoughts there, Simon?
Yeah, it actually, funny enough, I felt kind of lucky that there were no goals in the first half, and we actually cashed that 0-0 ticket because there were quite a few shots on goal in the first 5-10 minutes, and then the match sort of slowed down and progressed how I expected it to, beforehand. So I kind of was sitting on the edge of my seat in the beginning. I thought, oh gosh, this is probably going to be 3 goals in this half, and it ended up being 0-0 as we wanted. But yeah, it was actually quite a good game, I thought. But I think City deservedly won that.
Yeah.
And then the other EFL Cup match, Spurs defeated Brentford 2-0, which means that Spurs progress into the final, and they'll actually play Man City. But that's only going to be on the 25th of April. It's nice to see Brentford doing well in domestic tournaments because of course they are the Hollywood Bets UK.
Sponsored.
They're sponsored by them. So yeah.
Big for Hollywood Bets. Got in at the nice time, eh? Get that
Absolutely.
Sponsorship down. Team reaches the semis, and can't really
great.
complain about that kind of exposure.
Fantastic publicity, yeah.
And then the NFL is reaching its conclusion as well. A couple of games last week. A few kind of not big upsets. I followed the results. I don't want to say too closely. There were a couple of bets I was watching, none that I actually took. I think if I had taken them, I would have lost, to be honest. So I think the NFL this season has been one that I've mostly stayed away from, and I think it's been the right kind of call for me in that sense that I think I would have lost a lot more than I would have made if I'd been betting week in and week out. So it's one of those few seasons I'm glad I've kind of kept my powder dry.
Well, I think you're right, Rob. It's been very unpredictable. The NFL is one of those sports that I tend to make a little bit of profit on every season, but it really has been unpredictable. And I mean, obviously, with weird and wonderful COVID season, it's been turned the whole thing on its head. There've been all sorts of postponements and all sorts of other quirks, so it's been an interesting one. But last weekend was the wild card round, where all the teams except for the divisional winners face off for a place in that final 8. The main big surprise there was that the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Browns, and they actually started their season on an 11-0 winning streak. So that was definitely quite a big upset.
The divisional rivals.
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah, they are. But and look, the Browns are not the team of a few seasons ago where they actually lost every single match in their regular season. They've got a pretty good roster of players now, but at the same time, everyone was expecting the Steelers to beat them. And I mean, another interesting takeaway is seeing Tom Brady's success at Tampa Bay. I mean, I think a lot of people laughed off his move, from the Patriots to the Bucs, saying he should have gone straight into retirement. But sure, he's taken what was a pretty terrible team last season into the playoffs. So that's pretty impressive.
I mean, to be fair, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The guy's still got an arm. He's got a brain on him as well. His brain's not going to decline with his, well, one would hope with his age, unless he takes too many knocks. Well, his football brain, that is. And I think it's a great thing that he's playing, into his kind of twilight years. I think he'll decide to stop playing when he has a really bad season. I think something that's not up to his standards, which is fairly high. So good on him, I think.
So I mean, looking ahead, then we have this weekend is the proper divisional games now. We have the Packers and the Rams, the Bills and the Ravens, the Chiefs and the Browns, and the Saints and the Buccaneers. And looking at this slate, there is a bet that I really like out of these 4 matchups, and that's actually the Ravens to beat the Bills at 12-10. I think they're being disrespected as a 2.5 point dog. I mean, the Bulls have had a fantastic season. They've gone 13-3 in the regular season, but I think it's been way too easily forgotten that the Ravens were the favorites to win the Super Bowl most of the season. And Lamar Jackson is back, and he seems to be 100% fit again. So, I mean, I think next to the Chiefs, the Ravens have the strongest quarterback and offensive line in the league. So I think this should be a pick 'em or Ravens slight favorites. I like the 12-10 on the Ravens to beat the Bills.
Nice. Okay, so I'm looking here. I'm getting 11-10 on Sporting Bet, also with that 2.5 handicap over there. What about the Super Bowl winner, Simon? I don't want to say it's too early to call, but who do you fancy? I'm looking at the Chiefs, 3.2. Packers second favorite, 5.0. I'm not seeing too much value. Maybe the Ravens. It's a long shot, but 9.0 seems
I think
a bit of value.
in terms of a value bet, I would look more at the Ravens and the Chiefs, but I do still think they're going to retain the championship. I really do. I think that the Chiefs are still the strongest team. Well, when the season started, the Chiefs were slightly ahead of the Ravens as favorites to win the Super Bowl. Now they're a lot more. I think that the Chiefs have obviously been a lot more consistent, but I think I wouldn't say there's value in that number back in the Chiefs, but I think they'll win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so confident call there from Simon. And then on to some cricket, Simon. A couple of matches taking place that I'm sure you were watching.
Yeah, well, it's obviously there's been the Test series between India and Australia, and somehow India managed to eke out a draw in that third Test against Australia, which ended yesterday, which means the series is now tied at 1-1, and our 7-1 in-play bet to win the series is still live, which is pretty cool. However, I'm not too encouraged to see the bookmakers are still pricing India up as massive underdogs, and I think it's because of the nature of their win, not their win, their draw at least, which was basically out-and-out survival against Australia. So, I mean, Australia were in complete cruise control. They scored 338 in their first innings, and then they declared in their second innings to leave India just over 400 to chase. And then
almost impossible in a Test match.
And then Australia weren't able to bowl India out in the last day, or day and a half. Vihari and Ashwin slowed the run rate down to 2.5 and over. They managed to hold that 7th wicket partnership until the end of play yesterday. So
well done to India then.
Yeah, well done to India. I just think that it's not although it was honourable, shall we say, that they managed to survive. I just don't think it's the kind of
Test match cricket you want to watch. Yeah.
Well, especially, and also just looking to a win. I just think that I do think that they're being undervalued still, because actually, if you look now, the price in India is actually the same as what it was if you had backed them with a match down. So even though it's basically up in the air who will win this, they're actually 7-1 again. So
the books essentially think that India really lost that match at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of annoying because I got a bit of value in India in the beginning, and now the price is exactly where it would have been, but I took all the risk initially.
Yes.
When they were a Test down. So.
It's nothing worse than that, eh? You pick a golfer or something for a win, and he ends up there on the he does well after the cut or something like that, and you're still not getting amazing value on the guy, and he just doesn't end up going winning. That often happens to me as well.
Exactly. So look, I still think 7-1 is big on India. I mean, look, they've proved they can hold their own against Australia. Like gun to my head, of course I'm going to say Australia win, But I still think 7-1 is a pretty disrespectful price as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
so
worth
although I don't
putting a
have
15 or 20 rand on for
although I don't have the
interest
value
return.
anymore, I think if you're gonna play this, if you're gonna bet on this game, just certainly back India over Australia.
All right, so sounds like a good one there. Some value on India if you fancy them to pick up a win in the last test. And then Simon, on to the Premier League. We've got some fixtures tonight. A couple decent ones. We've got Sheffield taking on Newcastle. I kind of fancy Newcastle for a win there. We've got Burnley taking on United. Wolves Everton, which I think is probably going to be the cracker of tonight. And then tomorrow we have a couple decent bigger teams playing some minnows. And any fixtures that stand out there for you when it comes to betting value or anything that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, looking ahead at round 18, I think there are a few matches I have my eye on. I think, with all the postponements due to positive COVID tests, I think the one silver lining is that there's football every single day of the week, which is pretty cool, except for Friday, I think it is. So that's kind of cool. But I agree. I think Wolves Everton looks the best of the bunch. I don't have any particular leans from a betting perspective on that one. But I do have something on Arsenal Crystal Palace. What are your thoughts on that match first, Rob?
The Arsenal match. I fancy Arsenal there. I haven't looked too much into it. I have been looking a bit closer at Arsenal, following their kind of my perceived change in their form. It's difficult for me to jump on them now. I think they'll win. I think they'll win pretty comfortably at home. I think it's going to be a fairly low scoring game. 1.55 on Arsenal, not too tempting for me though, so
yeah,
I think it's going to be a case of the same. I might include that in a few accumulators, but I'm not going to be betting on that match itself, in a single match bet on any of the other markets.
Yeah, I actually fancy goals in this match. You can get, so it's basically the bookmakers have split it right down the middle. You can get 9 to 10 on over 2.5, and I can see this Arsenal winning this game either 2-1 or 3-1. That's kind of the way I see it going. And I think you could easily make a case for both teams to score, in my opinion, at around the same odds. But the one thing I worry about is Arsenal, shutting Palace out in quite a convincing victory, a 2-0 or 3-0. So I prefer over 2.5 goals here, but I think this could be quite an exciting one. I was quite surprised to see that the over 2.5 wasn't shaded, with shorter odds there. So I quite like that. But of course, the highlights of the weekend is, I suppose, what you'd call the greatest football rivalry of all time, I guess, would be Liverpool United. What are your thoughts on that one on Sunday, Rob?
Ooh, I have not. I honestly have not looked at that one. I was still looking at the Burnley United match, so I haven't completely formed an opinion on that one. I'd like to see what United do tonight, but just looking at the past couple results and not taking consideration what might happen tonight, I think it's a comfortable win for Liverpool. To be completely honest. They're playing at home, 1.95. I can't look past that.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I mean, I think them being priced at 9 to 10 is fair enough, and I can't argue with that. I mean, they're tied with United at the top of the table right now, but if you look at these two teams, it's been Liverpool that have always risen to the occasion far more than United of late. You actually have to go all the way back to 2016. To find the last time United actually won at Anfield. So, and I just don't see it happening this week either. But yeah, I don't really feel confident about any betting selections for this game. But I thought it was quite interesting to note that the under is where the bookmakers see this going. I mean, you can get 14 to 10 on over 2.5 goals. And under is priced at 6 to 10. So I was quite interested to see that the bookmakers are that confident this game is gonna go under 2.5.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, and I feel more along this game going overs if I were to take a side.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if you look at the other times these teams have played one another, and looked at just where the bookmakers have priced the over and under, it's been very split down the middle. So there's a definite feeling from the bookmakers that it's going to go under, and I think that the over 2.5 at 14 to 10 is a big price. I don't know.
Where are you seeing that over 2.5 at 14 to 10? Because I'm looking on Sporting Bets at the moment. I'm seeing 1.72 on that
Really?
over. Yes. So either that's their really short price. Let me pull up another betting site.
I wonder. I can't remember now where I sourced that from actually. Unless I made a complete mistake and I was looking at an incorrect fixture. That's also possible.
Yeah, it happened. Well, let me just quickly pull it up here on my phone just so that we can clarify. Because Sportingbet are usually pretty good with their prices. I usually don't find that they are too off. Although I'm seeing Betway are better priced on them for the.
Yeah, you're right. It is, and I see that the over is actually the over 7 to 10. Okay, so I must have. I don't know where.
It might be the Liverpool price that you might be thinking of. That's right on the even money line, with the 1.95.
Yeah, okay, well there we go. So that obviously that seemed like a not too good to be true. I mean, as I said, I still wasn't necessarily going to jump on the over there at that price, but that was obviously my bad. So
well, if you can get that price, then take it. This is what Simon's saying.
Yeah, I obviously had a bit
you might have to beg, borrow, and steal, but.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. In terms from a betting perspective, I don't really have any strong feelings about it.
I fancy Liverpool to win to 0 here, to be honest. I know it's just on value. I'm looking at 3.5 here on Sporting Bets, and if Liverpool do win this game, I think it's going to be a 1 or 2-0. I don't see United scoring. I don't see too many goals, and I see a few goals, but 2-3 goals maybe, no more than that. And that's if there's going to be 3 goals. I feel then United would score. So, I like Liverpool to win here, as I said earlier, but I think there is some value on Liverpool to win to 0. But I don't want to take Liverpool to win and over 2.5 or under 2.5. So I think that's where my value is going to lie. Man United, they had a couple of chances against City, but they were playing at home. They're playing at Anfield now. It's not a huge factor, but it's something to consider.
Sure.
And it's Liverpool, and I think Liverpool are the much better side. Sorry, Man United fans, but so Liverpool to win to 0 is probably going to be my tepid call on this game.
Great, awesome. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the league then.
Yeah, and nothing else coming up for any other sports. Not too much going on. We'll have another look at some of the NFL playoffs next week again, and some more of the Premier League, and we'll see what other action we can take a look at. But guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Simon, thanks for joining me as always.
Thanks, Rob.
Have a good one, guys. Cheers.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to visit our site, Facebook and Twitter pages. Let's go make some money.